You're listening to End of the Reel.
Oh my god!
Hello everybody, and this week we are doing a fantastic film. It is Howard the Duck. I'm your host Jared, and here is my co-host Ethan.
Hi.
So this is a movie that we knew we were going to get to it.
Well, yeah, it's a cult classic.
It is. It's a classic
And
and bad movie.
It deserves its status as a terrible, in a weird, entertaining way movie.
It's also one of the blockbuster big ones that's really bad.
Like, that actually had money put into it.
Yeah, and, like, proper
named
names.
actors like Tim Robbins and George Lucas is behind this.
Yeah,
And another number, although I guess
that's kind of the reason
he's
why.
responsible for a number of terrible blockbuster movies.
Yeah, I think it's one of those reasons why it's also bad is you have someone who has like too much power and they don't really have a clear vision.
I don't know, because this movie is all over the place.
Oh yeah, this is a mess.
And I don't know who it's for, because the biggest problem for me in this movie is the weird... Oh, okay. The worst part of the movie is the last boring half.
Yeah.
The weirdest part for me, and the reason I feel like it flopped the hardest, is it's a PG film, and it's filled with strange sexuality the whole way through.
Well,
like
this-
sex jokes
This
constantly.
film, it leveraged very heavily of duck puns, references,
and sex
and
jokes.
sex jokes.
Weird sex jokes. Like...
Which I'm cool with. That's one of those things too.
In a PG film, you see duck condoms, you see multiple duck breasts.
He talks about giving sex changes and other, which again, I'm cool with. I like this stuff.
He goes,
but it doesn't fit for a kids
there's
movie.
a 5-minute scene where he goes to work in what I assume is some sort of brothel,
Nah, I think it's like a sex spa.
a sex spa. Is there such a thing as a sex sauna?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah,
Well,
totally. There's
it looks incredibly unhygienic.
This swinger
like
islands.
having sex in saunas, like
No, no.
in spas.
Yeah, but that's why you need him to
isn't
clean
good.
it. That's why they hired
That's why
him.
they're
That's why
constantly
they
being
hired
cleaned.
him.
Yeah,
He needs
goes
to be
in,
clean.
And while a couple
Oh,
is
yeah.
having sex in the sauna, he gets in and starts going through the vents.
You know,
it's
annoyed
disturbing.
me. That annoyed me.
The whole movie is
you know
disturbing.
why? That's unhygienic.
Them having sex
Yeah.
while he's working there.
That's annoying. How
He didn't
and
clean his hands before he got into that filthy sex sauna.
It's lucky-
Yeah, it's very unhygienic.
I think it's just lucky the couple weren't, horrified by this like anamorphic human duck thing
so in this
that gets thrown in while
this
they're
movie,
having
right,
sex. That's a horror movie.
are people scared of like a half man, half duck thing that's walking around?
Well, see, the
because
movie
half
couldn't
the
decide.
people are
Yeah.
like horrified and like staring and shouting, and then
The other half aren't.
the other half just don't care.
But it's actually interesting. So it's like, so half of them are just like, that's a duck, man. That's it. Actually, he wasn't horrified. I liked him though.
He was like shocked.
He was
To be
shocked.
fair, the people who aren't don't care that it's a duck are like either weird punk guys or having sex.
No,
which is
no.
half the characters in this film.
There's also a few of them who think it's like a child in a costume,
yeah.
and that is the one that's understandable.
But only one of them actually comes out and says it.
No, there's a few. There's a few who say that, oh, nice costume and stuff. So it's like that stuff's that's believable.
Yeah.
I get that one. The ones who are freaked out, I get that too. But the ones who are like the surface worker, she doesn't give a shit.
There's
She just says, oh yeah, you look kind of funny with that bill of yours. I'm going to get you a job.
yeah. Well, I think she thought he was like putting on makeup or something, because she was just like, you come in here with your weird stuff. I'm gonna get you a job no matter what.
Actually, you know what?
She's dedicated. I'll give that to her.
Yeah, she's good at her job. I've heard other podcasts talk about this too. She's good at her job, and I just realized why too. Not just tattoos, but physical implantations and stuff like that. You can get on your body to make yourself look like other things.
Yeah.
To be fair, to just give her some credit, if someone's gonna turn up at one of those places
Looking like a duck.
because there are people who've tried to look like, oh, what is it, a dragon? No, a feathers. No.
She
No,
doesn't
a
blink
tiger.
twice. She straight away yells at this guy for not having a job and starts to get him a job.
There are dragon and feather people out there, and they look interesting. I will
They
say
don't look
that.
as interesting as Howard the Duck. Although
Howard the
the
Duck
Duck is not an interesting looking person, because the costume is pretty terrible.
No, I reckon she thinks those are like full on implantation, like physical implantations,
Because it looks
and she
like-
just thinks they're good ones.
Because you know why? It's because Howard the Duck, Howard T. Duck, as he is in the movie,
Yeah.
doesn't look like a real duck person. As weird as this is to say.
What do you mean?
Okay, the costume is shitty, yeah? It looks like a short person in a duck costume, which is what
Dwarf.
it is. A dwarf, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yes.
And that's what it looks like. At no point did I think that is an actual duck person. His bill barely moves. I think and sometimes it doesn't move when he's talking. And I don't remember seeing his eyes move that
No,
much.
you said this was the Razzies, all of the...
I think
there's-
all of the the dwarf actors who play Howard the Duck
which is like
were
20
nominated
of them.
for Razzies. There were a few
God,
nominations.
dude, I was trying
for
to
this
figure out how
movie.
many people played it.
I think there were like
oh,
7 or 8 because George Lucas, remember he's coming off Star Wars, so he's used to working with short actors. He did Willow as well with Warwick Davis and a bunch of others as well.
hey, yeah, he's pretty good at that.
Well, he likes doing it. I don't know if that's his thing or whatever.
You mean like Tarantino has a thing for feet? Oh, no, this probably
No,
isn't
I'm not- I
sexual.
don't think it's
Sorry.
sexual.
Sorry. I'm sorry. It's not...
I just think he thinks it's interesting.
Yeah,
or
I didn't...
that they're interesting. I don't know.
I didn't mean that. I want to get in a costume and be a duck. I want to be a fucking duck.
Jeez. Yeah.
Now I want someone to fuck the duck. Oh, shit, maybe it is sexual.
But I mean,
Maybe it is.
as bad as the duck is, like, it's a bad costume.
Yeah.
Like, the acting in general in this movie isn't great.
Where can talk about the costume though. This is why I sort of disagreed with you. I think because the
It's
costume,
so shitty, it's not so bad.
Yes,
Yeah, I know. You're talking
that's what I was
about
talking
it's
about
like
before.
it's not so bad. Like if it was a bit more lifelike, it would push it into like the uncanny valley
This
sort
is
of thing.
this is
Like,
honestly
the fact that it has fingernails
does
weirded
it-
me out.
See,
It
this
sort
is
of has like it looks like it has fingernails. The duck costume.
it looks like a really good costume that I could buy. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
You could get this costume for your kid
Yeah.
down at the shops for like
No.
you'd have to order it for
It's
a couple hundred
special
bucks.
costume. That's
Yeah.
but that's the thing. It doesn't have like the mouth moving or the eyes stuff. So it's not like a movie level costume. It's more like this is someone dressed up as a duck holding a sign costume, maybe, or like
It should never have been real life person in a duck costume. This should have been animated. The whole film
You
should have
reckon?
been animated. Well, I think it was meant to be animated when they first thought of it.
well, it's based off a
they
cartoon,
needed a
isn't
real
it?
life. Yeah, well, it's
Of
based
comic,
off
sorry.
a Marvel comic book.
Yeah. So this is the first Marvel film,
He appears in a couple of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy ones.
and the latest one.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
It's all right. He's in the portal or something like that. I can't
Oh,
remember.
he's one of the huge
I think he flies
background
by.
groups. Okay.
So this is the first Marvel film. Also, interestingly,
Is it the first Marvel film to come out?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Wow, okay.
And interestingly, this was the only like Disney film we could find on Netflix.
Well, I don't know.
I like
well,
that
Disney
Disney's
Plus
just
has
like
just opened up.
Yeah.
So I know all the Star Treks
Star
have
Wars.
gone. Star Wars has gone.
Yeah, but I just found it funny. I'm like, oh, that's weird. They didn't take Howard the Duck.
Well, maybe it's owned by a different group or something.
That's
I don't know.
true. It started getting complicated with people's answers, so I just didn't really care.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, it's owned by this, but this is by."
It's owned by
but
Disney.
This,
It's
they
all
might
owned
own
by
the
Disney.
character.
Disney
but-
owns everything.
Yeah, but someone might own the character, but not this. And
Whatever.
and you're just like, but when will we get Howard the Duck too?
Right.
I mean,
They
Yeah.
obviously can use Howard T. Duck.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think they're gonna put any lawyers on the case to get one of the most well-known bad movies of all time onto the service.
Yeah.
Probably not a high priority for them.
Well, I don't know. Howard T. Duck does have a huge cult following. If this movie's, anything to go by.
It's funny enough. It's actually a lot like other Marvel films, as we were talking about.
Yeah, it has all the hallmarks of the bad superhero origin movies.
Yeah.
Where it's got a good, interesting setup where they come to Earth or they get their superpowers, and then the last half of the movie is, and now they've got to fight a big bad who's turned up.
Who wants to destroy the world?
Yeah,
Of course.
which is the boring bit.
That is
and
very boring.
Yeah, it is the boring bit.
Yeah. And let's get to the start of the film, where
The
I would
first
say
10 minutes of
arguably
this
most
film-
interesting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the first 10 minutes of this film have so much. It's so dense. It's amazing.
I just want to know what's going on.
Because it starts off with us looking at Duck World, which
Yeah.
I think is the name of the planet. Duck
That's
World.
what, but we
which
don't
is
call this human
boring.
world.
There are so many like bad duck puns, and I think in the comic it's meant to be satirical, but the movie isn't, or it doesn't feel like it is.
Yeah, so that's the weird
So it
bit.
just comes across as lame, like tons of lame duck puns.
So the comic it's like self-aware and satirical. But
I think
the
I
movie,
haven't actually read it.
The movie is sort of like, oh, we're gonna be funny and we're gonna be for kids. So they put all their money in puns. I've already said this, haven't I?
Weird duck
They put it
puns.
all in puns. I'm just serious. Everything's in puns and references.
He learns quack fu. He lives on Duck World. But it's so lame. They're just like it's just Duck World.
But it doesn't make sense.
In the opening scene, he once he realizes he's home alone, he opens up his play duck.
Which again doesn't make sense. That'd
None
be
of it
play
makes
human.
sense.
That'd be play human.
Who could you imagine? Like
It
your
should
job,
be play duckling.
your job at this place. You turn up to the movie studio, and your job is to create a Playboy for ducks.
Maybe it's
Could
someone
you
who's
imagine
like
doing
a,
that? Like the whole set is amazing because he's got pictures of him hanging out with his ducks friends. He's getting letters from duck ladies he likes, and he's a bit of a playboy because
play duckling.
his relationship with other ducklings on this other ducks on his home planet, which sort of fascinated me the whole way through, because the way I figure out he's in a polyamorous relationship with two other female ducks.
No.
Oh no, well not polyamorous.
I
'cause
think
they're both into him.
We don't know what sort of relationship he had.
Well, but
He
there
just
are
had
lots of hints.
multiple
He gets-
suitors.
okay, so during the first 5 minutes, he gets a postcard from one duck lady talking about how much she wants to get back with him. He gets a phone message from another duck lady asking him around to have sex.
Yeah.
And then later on in the film, when Bev, the human love interest, is going through his wallet, there's pictures of him on the beach with these two duck women.
Yeah, he gives good duck D.
Good Bill.
He gives good bill. That's all he does. It goes to.
Oh,
my
wait, no,
god!
what is it?
how-
Don't ducks have like cloacas or something?
Holy shit! Maybe they didn't show the mouth because if he had teeth, that'd be fucking terrifying.
Oh, yeah, okay. They did better than Sonic. He does not have teeth. He's just got this boring plastic bill that looks like someone's got their hand in it.
Yeah. But he gives good duck dick.
Yeah, but
Good old duck dick.
from the look of it, he's kind of a loser. Like, his apartment's
What?
shitty.
No, I got the other feeling. I thought he was like meant to be popular.
Well, what we find out is that after he sort of left school, he sort of tried for the band, to make a band, and it was just never got off the ground. And just recently,
Oh, yeah,
he's
this is
become an
funny.
ad exec. And,
No, not just recently, but he's an ad
all of
exec.
his human friends are like, oh, you sold out, man.
Actually,
yeah, he
can
got
I
a
say-
real job.
That's why I felt was pretty fucking funny. Like, in this weird way. I wish we played on it more. But it's like, you're watching... Okay, again. You are watching a superhero... Or, I don't know. You're watching a Marvel film. Okay? And your main character is a marketing executive or a marketing director or whatever.
Yeah, he comes up with the cool jingle.
He comes up with jingles. That's your hero.
All the lines were, yeah.
I thought that was actually really interesting, and we could have done something with that. But they, apart from that one throwaway
because
line,
that
they
would have
don't do
needed
anything.
like some sort of character development, and he's such a bland character.
But that's why that could have been
walks
so
through the world
satirical.
and things don't seem to affect him much.
But do you get what I mean? Like, that could have been so satirical. It's like, oh, it's this person from another multiverse is thrown into a different into
Oh,
our
and he's
multiverse.
just a boring
And
ad
he is-
exec who wants to go back to his own planet.
Yeah, he just wants to bone and go back to his own planet and make jingles.
And that's kind of what the first half of the movie is, and that's the interesting part. Like, it doesn't work, and it's terrible, but it's
Yeah.
interesting.
So-
I quite enjoyed that.
While he's sitting down for I don't think there's anything else in the office. He looks at Play Duck, and then just completely randomly, his chair starts going crazy, and he gets sucked through the apartment
Yeah,
building.
into some sort of purple beam. He's sucked out into the space.
Because-
And while this is happening, we get to see a few other duck people, including one who's in the bath just singing completely naked. And we see everything.
I
It's
think
so
she's,
strange.
She's touching herself while she's saying stuff and drinking
well,
wine.
she's singing and drinking wine.
And of course, you get the famous duck tits.
But we don't even what it's like it's centered on her. You don't watch Howard fly out. You watch her bathing. Howard flies by and you keep watching her bathe.
So you got to remember, some poor actor was hired, and they said, okay, I want you to dress up in this fucking hot.
Actors.
I want you to
because they put
No, no.
so much effort into creating this duck world. There's even like fake duck TV going on in the
There's so many
background
for
with
that,
duck
like,
people.
3 minutes of film was really weird, but I just like the casting call. Okay, what I want you to do, I want you to pretend you're a really sexy fucking hot duck, and she's like, I'm a hot duck, yeah, in a bath, and now I want you to just have your big duck tits on display.
And it opens so
And
many
it's like,
questions.
could you imagine that?
Do these ducks lay eggs still? And if they lay eggs, why do they have breasts?
Well, he gets really offended about eggs.
He
Remember?
gets very thingy about eggs later in the movie. You're right. So they probably still lay eggs.
No, but he has a human dick. It's a human dick.
Right, right. Well, from the condom that we see when his human love interest is rifling through his wallet because she wants to know if he's ready to go or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she finds the condom. That she seems to like that.
Because that looked like a human condom. Because everyone knows ducks have corkscrew penises.
I didn't know that.
Because of that, they should have been a fucking...
Why do you know that?
It should have been...
That's such a strange thing to bring up.
She should have pulled out like a slinky condom. You know, it's all like she put... Whoa!
No.
That would have made...
She shouldn't have pulled out a condom
penis.
at all because it's just weird and it shouldn't have been in the movie.
I didn't like her reaction to pulling out the condom.
Oh, Howard.
Oh, Howard. It was so weird. Not only that, I didn't like their interaction at all because they were so whatever,
They're a
about
weird
it.
couple.
They don't care. He cut. Okay, so
Well,
he
they
gets.
sync up pretty quick. Like they're simpatico, you know.
Well, we get like 2 seconds of him in the multiverse where the multiverse just
Is
talks
flying
about
through outer space, being
and some-
sucked towards Earth.
some god thing, I guess, or narrator is just explaining this is a multiverse.
It's never brought up again. We have no idea who or what it is.
It was just someone explaining, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a multiverse, they're just like us, blah, blah, blah. He arrives, instantly we just get scenes.
to post-apocalyptic Cleveland. Apparently, I've never seen. The only time I've seen Cleveland is in a 30 Rock episode where it looked quite nice, but apparently in the Howard the Duck universe, Cleveland is an apocalyptic wasteland. Populated mainly by
Punk
punks
rockers.
and bikie gangs.
Yep, that's what I felt too.
That's what it feels like for most of the film. Whenever they go to Cleveland proper, it's this rundown, derelict area with like waste bin fires.
And there were so many scenes that happened here, so just forgive me a little bit, but
So this is all like him leaving and turning up, and all this stuff happens in like the span of like 10 minutes.
But
it feels like you've been watching like an hour-long movie. There's just so much.
it's like he gets thrown into some punk rockers who grab him, then throw him to some other dude who then takes him as a date.
They wanted him to be a date for this guy.
And then
And
this
that's how
guy-
they were getting into this place, and that's where we get our first music
So
scene.
they walk,
because we see.
walk into the club, and then the guy says no kids allowed, so he gets then thrown out
But
again.
at the same time, you've got Bev and her band going on in the background.
But he gets thrown out, and I think then he gets thrown
And
into
the guy
some
complains
bikers.
that they took his date away.
Does some bikers then grab him, and then he falls into a street?
He
No,
runs
there's an
away
alleyway.
from the bikers.
There's an alleyway.
No, he hides, and that's where the first couple having sex are. They see him freak out and try to kill him with a stick.
Right.
Then he runs in front of the bikies. Somehow he gets on top of one of the bikes, and these 2 bikie women are like, "Kill it, kill it, kill it."
Yeah.
He manages to roll off and get into a bin and just slams the lid shut on himself.
And he stays there until, of course, in this nice kid movie, the Bev, the other character, comes by and is going to be raped.
Yeah, which is disturbing to say the least.
No. It's
By these 2 weird punk guys, one of who. So as they're starting to manhandle her and stuff into
Can
the
we
corner,
come up with like some kind of phrase for like, because we have
because it's a PG film, so there's rape. Well, implied rape, but we can't
that
have
would-
drugs.
no.
So the minute they see Howard, he jumps up and tells them to stop what they're doing. One of them looks around and goes, "Oh man, I've been having too much toot."
and that was funny. That was one of the only funny lines in this
it's like,
film.
I'm hallucinating. It's just so strange.
They are hilarious rapists.
Yeah.
I really feel like we've had this in so many kids movies. I know massive apostrophes here. Kids movies where the joke is rape, and like I'm so confused. Why? Why do we keep getting this?
Yeah. But
Couldn't have they just tried to rob her?
Howard say, well, maybe they were, I don't know, but it felt darker than that.
Could you imagine walking in? Okay, guys, so now we're gonna have the rape thing. This is for kids. Oh,
Is it
It's a
PG?
funny-
Well, we won't say they were doing drugs. We'll say they were doing Toot. Toot's a Charlie fun movie.
dress them up as punks. It's funny then. Funny rape. It's funny rape.
Yeah.
I don't think those two words should go together in a sentence.
Anyway,
next to each
after
other.
Howard and
leave
Bev
that
fight
out.
off the rapist, they become pretty much close friends for the rest of the movie. Oh, they have like the most obvious breakup half, like in the first quarter, and it's like you're just waiting for them to get back together.
Yeah, so she. This is so weird. So they go back to her place because she wants to.
She is part of the shittiest band ever, and
Right,
not
right,
because of
right.
the music. The music is bland.
We'll get onto the band, but you know, she just goes back to his place. No,
Oh,
her place. Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And
And she was living in an abandoned factory.
but isn't this weird that she's like, yeah, I'm not from around here. I'm an alien, and she's like, okay. They're like so chill.
Well,
they're
she's
just like,
sort of surprised, but you know, he saved her from getting raped, so I think she's more interested in him.
yeah, but then also it's just like their thing is like, oh, okay, we'll go back home. They don't
Yeah.
care. There's no like, oh my god, you're a duck. You're a duck from another planet.
She quizzes him a little, but I think she's just sort of. She comes across as kind of dumb, like very dumb. Not just the way she reacts to Howard, but she is in a contract with the band
Yeah.
where she is not getting paid.
Yeah, so they have
and-
some band manager
And
who's
Tim
a piece
Robbins,
of shit.
who is, I think, a janitor.
No, he's a lab assistant. He says it like 6 times.
Okay, so on Wikipedia, it has him down as a lab assistant, as a janitor.
What?
Yeah. So, well, but it says, okay, he calls himself a lab assistant, but his job at the museum is cleaning up puke.
Then why is he wearing a lab coat?
I don't think they could figure it, well, because he doesn't want to get shit on him.
But
I don't think they could figure out quite what he was meant to be doing, because when he's first introduced, he runs into like a group of actual looking scientists to tell him he's got a discovery, then runs out again. But later on, he's being ordered around by the other janitor staff, who are also wearing lab coats. I think that's just the uniform. No, because he's not at a university or anything. He's at like a history museum.
No, that does experiments.
What experiments does he run on Howard, Jared? For the weird 10-minute wacky experiment section,
He is
what
annoying.
experiments does he run on
Can I
Howard?
say though, he was good. Good actor.
He was putting his all into this, and he shouldn't have, because it was a terrible character. It made no sense. I thought his character was actually, maybe retarded, because at one point he opens the door and enters the room and goes, "Howard, you're here." Waka, 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 waka. That's the noise he makes. Why?
So he might
Why
be
does he do that?
a little slow.
This is like halfway through the movie where he knows Howard speaks English.
You know what?
Howard makes fun of him and calls him a moron multiple times.
You know what? He might be a little slow with things, but he's got the heart where it counts. That's
Where?
what matters.
Where exactly?
I don't know.
He doesn't have the brain that counts, that's for sure, because he gets Howard up onto this stool and starts asking him questions. Even Bev realizes he's a moron.
Wow.
Because because she
name calling
storms
here.
out with him.
Hey, you know what it is? You know what
Because
it
he
is?
starts going, "Oh, wow, you're an alien duck." It's like, yeah. "Oh, what other powers have you got? What do you mean? I'm an alien duck."
I
It's like, I'm
think-
just a regular alien
know your
duck.
problem?
So can you see the future? Can you make a hole in this plank of wood? And he keeps asking these stupid questions. And even Howard the duck is like, "This is stupid. I'm leaving."
I think you're prejudiced against janitors, because I'm not sure if you know this. There are some janitors who, just for the fact they just enjoy being janitors, and while then all the staff aren't actually doing their work, like they're not at the place and they're cleaning up, what they do, they go up to the big blackboard and they just start writing equations and figuring things out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he is not one of those characters.
You sure he's not that guy who from that movie that I can't remember? Is it Russell Crowe?
He doesn't
Is it
even
Russell
know how
Crowe?
to fly the airplane thing.
Oh, that
the
airplane annoyed
ultralight
me.
thing.
Wait.
What
was the movie I was trying to think of?
Part of the movie.
What's the movie?
You're thinking of like A Beautiful Mind or
Yeah,
something.
that's it.
Is that it? I haven't actually seen it.
He is not a beautiful mind.
No.
That'd be an interesting character.
His character is like obnoxiously annoying or weird,
Obnoxious. He's obnoxious. You
Yeah.
had that. You had it.
but also instrumental to the plot, and I think we're meant to like him. He's dating one of the other band members.
Wait,
and
is I thought he was dating Bev. That's what didn't
No,
make
no,
any
he's not
sense to
dating
me.
Bev.
Oh my god, who is he
No,
dating?
he's dating. I think she's got like red hair.
Okay.
They never get names. The other band members, they have like one line and that's it, and then they just do the singing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what they're actually called or who he's dating.
All right, that makes sense now.
Does it?
So they go to the History Museum and find out jack shit from Tim, and Tim does this really that scene pissed me off because it didn't make sense.
He's manic the whole way through, and I think it's meant to be like he's a cartoon weirdo.
Yeah.
And he's playing a cartoon weirdo. Like at one point he gets like electrocuted and he's got smoke coming out of his hair and he's like, "Oh, Howard, I think you've got to put your seatbelt on." Crap like that.
I can see it in a
It might
comic.
have worked in an animated film. It does not work in a live action film.
I get it in a comic.
Yeah.
I can see his character, how it's written in the comic, because he's meant to be the dumb idiot who Howard can't like get rid of, who follows him around.
I think at one point he's even wearing like a deer hunter hat and like weird jacket, just like who's that cartoon character who hunts people, hunts the rabbit?
Wellesley something.
I can't remember their names. He looks like a cartoon character for most of it.
I'm gonna give you a wee wabbit.
Yeah.
You wee wabbit.
They storm out of there once they realize he's an idiot.
Well, he also shows this really dumb evolution thing of the duck, but it's like, how does he know? How does he know the duck evolution?
Well, he goes up to see, this is how humans evolved, and this is how ducks must have evolved to be exactly the same. And it's like, I think it's part of the whole world building, like this is how it happened, but we don't really need to know this at all.
So now, I think Howard... Oh, no, now
That's
they
where
break up.
Howard has a hissy fit at Bev, who has been nothing but helpful.
Right.
And who he has already at this point mentioned that he is sexually attracted to.
Has he?
Oh, he's hinted at it. He keeps checking her out. It's creepy. But,
Well, as we know about
I think
Howard,
it
he
would
would
be
take
more
a
creepy
bite out
if he
of
wasn't
her.
like so into her.
Yeah.
But
They break up. He goes to find a job.
yeah, well, he at this point he stops pretend. Up to this point, Bev has been like carrying him around in a bag to pretend that he isn't, a man duck to hide him from the world. At this point, he doesn't care. He just storms off. A lot of people like stare and shout and stuff, but no one actually does anything.
Yeah.
Police don't turn up. Men in Black don't turn up. After they have a laugh and a cry, people just seem to forget about him.
Man, this movie could have been good with some Men in Black trying to chase him down. That would have made sense.
Been interesting. But they don't do that. The only time the police finally find out about him, and they're like, "What do we do with him?" Just book him as an illegal alien.
You know
Who
why?
cares? Who needs the paperwork,
It's
right?
still the 1980s.
Put him in a
so
cell and forget about
the
it.
weird furry craze about ducks is still on, which is a lot, okay?
Is there a furry
There is a
craze?
lot. No, you
What?
go back and you look at it, right? A lot of Looney Tunes, all that stuff. They all have ducks, right?
I think they
all of them have ducks.
come
there
from
are
a long
lots
time
of duck
before.
movies. No, there are lots of anamorphic duck movies and shit. There are
there?
a lot of anamorphic animals in the past. Yes, it's really common from like a certain time
See,
period of like
if I was gonna
1940s
say
to
there was
1980s.
something that was like from the time that really influenced this movie. Something like Blues Brothers weirdly influences this movie.
Yeah, but not-
because at the end they
not with the duck.
decide to jam in a giant car chase.
Oh my god! But all right, just real quick about the duck though. The duck thing,
Right.
the whole furries thing that we have now, actually came from an era where anamorphic animals was really popular.
I don't know
Okay,
anything
you can
about
actually
this at
look
all.
up a documentary. It's on YouTube about the start of furries. Now, don't think about the way they are now, but to begin with, it was all doing cartoon. It was mainly comics and
People
cartoons.
attracted to cartoons like
No,
out
not
of
not-
Roger Rabbit.
It wasn't
Who Framed
sexual.
Roger Rabbit, that
it
sort of
wasn't
thing.
always sexual.
Okay.
But that's the thing. There was more of a community back then of like non-sexual things like that. That's why you have all these comics and shit like that. And now you got furries,
Well, featheries, I guess. With
featheries,
Howard.
whatever
Yeah.
they are. I really can't remember why I brought that
I will
up.
give this movie one thing. They never cross the line and actually have Howard have sex with a human.
No, they crossed the line.
They
crossed the
build
line.
up to it and they tease it, but they never quite. Well, actually, you know what? If they hadn't been interrupted, I think they would have had sex.
They should have cut to black, and you should have just heard feathers
would it have
banging
been
everywhere.
better if it had been like a higher rating and they had sex?
Yeah, way better.
Okay,
way
because-
better. It's just weird. It's just weird what they did instead. But
Yeah, Howard ends up looking for a job. He
Which
ends
was
up
great.
at a job center, and they're like, well, you technically don't exist and you're some sort of alien, but we'll get you a job.
Dude, that was crazy.
She is, she's a worker.
How's she gonna
gets it
pay?
done.
How I like that's what I wrote down. I was like, don't you need like a social security? I don't know how American system works, but it's like I think that's a tax
Some
number.
form of ID. He has nothing.
He has nothing. He is a duck.
But
He's a
she
human
gets him
duck.
a job within a couple of hours,
And of course,
which is pretty impressive.
everything has to be duck related. So of course it's in a freaking as we said,
No,
it's,
it's
a
a
sex
sex sauna.
Yeah.
Oh, and the big joke is he's a duck who can't swim,
Oh my
which
god.
is why he's afraid of water. Okay, but during the job interview with
all
the
those
woman,
duck things
he's-
sucked.
she's insulting him, and for some reason she bends over the table, and he goes to like take a bite out of her ass.
She had a big ass.
But why is he going to take a
Because
bite
he's
out of it?
Howard the sexy motherfucking duck.
But I didn't get that.
He's
It's
a
like, was
sexual
he
duck.
okay? I get he was angry, but was it like
No.
an anger bite or was it a sexual thing?
No,
Because
that was lust. He wanted to fuck her. That's why he wanted to take a bite out of her ass.
yeah,
That's why he looked at her and he went, "Oh, sick," in a good way. Ooh.
yeah. And then after
That's
this,
me.
it cuts to him working in this sex sauna, smoking a cigar through this sleazy, dark place that's lit only with neon lights, and there are couples running all over the place having sex with each other.
You know what's weird about all the in movies whenever they show these like underground sex places, they're never appealing.
No, I
They're
wouldn't.
never appealing.
The whole place looks filthy and
Yeah.
disgusting and just terrible. No, where are the really nice sex dens
Where are the
or whatever?
Swinger Islands?
But,
I was reading about Swinger Island the other day. It exists.
Of course, he doesn't work there long because for some reason the owner of the place picks him up and throws him into one of the saunas to clean a jet while these couples are having sex in it.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him pushing later on. There are a lot of weird cuts. I
know
could
what's
never
weird?
figure out how time was moving
A
in this
sauna
movie.
even has the
because
rules
it never made sense.
that you're not meant to put your ears underneath the water or
I'm
your
pretty sure
eyes
you're
or your
not meant
mouth.
to have sex in saunas, but they were, Jared. I don't think they're worried about getting a little water in their ears.
Well, or come.
Oh, but and then he pushes the owner into what looked like a pool of shit.
Yeah, it was a mud pit.
Was it a mud pit?
Yeah,
I thought
that's
it was
what it
like
was.
a like a shit pit.
It was a mud pit.
Yeah, and then that's how he loses his job and is out walking the streets again. He decides to head back to Bev.
Yeah, like 2 seconds later, it's fine.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
was a bit. This is where we.
okay.
This is where we said the movie should have had more of him trying to find jobs, more of him trying to get along in life.
But this is what should
Would've
have
been more
annoyed me
interesting.
more, but I
And then
found
Men
the
in
whole
Black
thing
following
interesting.
him.
Like, all of these plot lines they set up go absolutely nowhere. Like him getting a job goes nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
5 minutes later, it's over. Him going, like, getting checked over by the scientists go nowhere. Him getting seen by people go nowhere. And I would have been more annoyed, but it's interesting. It's the only interesting part of the movie.
Man, I'm just imagining if this was like for adults, they wanted to make it like R-rated. It would have been so much more interesting.
They
We
wouldn't
don't-
have had to do much
No,
to
but-
make this R-rated.
Exactly. I think it would have been interesting if he had sex with the caseworker who got him the job. Like, that's one of his things. She's always getting him a new job. It's like, oh, Howard, you gotta stay in your job. That's not how she sounded at all. As she's smoking a cigar with him, she's, I'm sorry, Toots. I just think a lot of duck sex.
Okay. I wanted less duck sex in this movie, but no, fine.
And then,
more.
like, the men in black are constantly, like, fucking up his
There's
jobs.
no one there looking at him.
Would have been so good. The men in black trying to constantly catch him.
It
That's
would
why he
have
has to
been
keep
a
leaving.
story, or like, rather than the weak plot they have at the end with the overlords of the universe. Who we'll
So,
get
yeah,
to.
let's get into the second
So-
plot bit. Here it comes.
No, we're not even getting into that yet
What?
because he has to make up with Bev. He becomes the so he goes to the bar where Bev and the crew are
Oh, shit. I forgot about this.
performing,
Yeah.
and he's overhearing their current manager basically bragging about how he doesn't give them any of the money they earn. Like, he's earning money. He's got like a fistful of dollars, like bills and stuff, and he's going on about how he's going to give it to her once he gives it to her. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
they all laugh. That's
So-
the joke. I'm not making this up.
They're in some weird
In a PG
contract.
film, it's weird.
So
where she
some
has to
weird contract.
prostitute herself to him.
Yeah. Well, what kind of a contract did she fucking sign?
I
That's
don't know,
like,
but I don't
you
think
don't
any-
get paid
These
until you
four
have
women
sex with me
are
too.
apparently they've been doing this for years and they're not getting paid
Yeah.
at all, which is why I think Tim Robbins' character has a chance with the other bandmate because she is so desperate for somewhere to live that she's shacking up with Tim Robbins'
Oh,
character.
that's terrible. This is like Requiem for a Dream or something shit.
That's well, the first half, it's so grimy. Everything is grimy and post-apocalyptic in this first half.
Yeah,
It's very
I'm
depressing.
I'm never going to Cleveland
Right?
ever.
It looks terrible. I mean, there's a section of this film where he's homeless and he has no job and he's got nothing and he's walking down the street just looking depressed.
Yeah.
It's great.
Apparently, that's every day in Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's a good day in Cleveland. The sun was out. No one spat on you. You didn't get any cum
homeless
on your
people
shoe.
look at him and like, were there homeless people?
That was just
They're looking at him and like going, "Oh, I've had too much to drink or something."
Yeah, there was,
Or was that
yeah,
a different?
there was.
Was
No,
that a
there
better
was.
movie?
it was.
Yeah.
He
Yeah. He gets enraged when he hears the manager talking.
beats the shit out of manager.
Manager and his friends. Well, that's when the quack foo comes out, and he just goes to town. And this is what your favorite character was:
Yeah, so there's this guy,
the weird hipster barman.
the weird hipster French barman dude, and you just get like one image of him, and you're like, okay. And then the only other time it goes back to him is when he breaks a bottle and hands it
just
to Howard the
hands it
Duck.
to Howard. And the barman's just smiling and nodding.
He's
He's like,
smart.
okay.
He doesn't. This guy doesn't say anything in this film except for breaking a bottle and just handing
And
it
he's
to
your
Howard.
favorite character.
Yeah, because I like him. He
I wanted
did something.
to hear his story. How did he end up in this shitty dive bar, and why is he so happy to help an alien duck knife?
He
who
probably,
I think
you
are
know
his
why?
bosses.
He probably overheard them and were like, "These guys, are fucking
shitty
assholes."
because they're working there a lot. Apparently,
Yeah. So
he beats up. Threatens to kill the guy. This is a violent
It's all
movie
right,
as well.
forget that,
There's a lot
that's
of
fine,
violence.
it's funny,
He's
violence
going to
is funny.
spear the guy through the eye and is like, "Just give me the damn contract."
he gets
Which
a contract.
I don't think is how contracts work.
Nah,
by the
he
way,
gets a contract. He saves the girls.
was it a verbal contract? Because he just says, "Okay, it's revoked," and that's it. They don't sign anything.
It's all right. He gets the contract. He gets the girls out, and now the second
And then,
half of the
they're
movie
like,
starts.
"Well, actually, you know what? You should be our manager." And that sort of should have been the movie, right?
Yeah.
He becomes their manager and they become successful.
Because that's
I could-
actually the
I could see that,
conclusion.
and that'd be kind of interesting.
That's literally what happens at the end.
Yeah, but then for some reason, they tack on a 40-minute car chase, basically.
So part B of this movie will come out next week. No, I don't know. We'll just say part B because it's fucking
Because
boring.
it's boring and nothing actually happens. Tim Robbins' character turns up and...
Takes them to the science place
he
thing.
interrupts their weird, almost sex scene. So they're in bed together, Bev and the duck, and Bev's like, she's just in her underwear, right? In her weird, revealing nightie. They get into bed together, they start teasing each other. I think they're about to have sex, and that's when Tim Robbins and the other scientist burst in, and it turns out a feather Tim took off the duck matches this feather that turned up when these guys were using this weird laser beam that was meant to look into another universe. And they think that it matches, so it's like they must have accidentally been the ones to pull him there. I did like how these scientists were like, the head one's Jenna, who's, I don't know the actor's name, but I think he's a pedophile?
Dude, I don't know.
Anyway, he's actually pretty eager to help repair the damage. Like, he wants to send him back. He's very helpful. And I thought, okay, the movie's going to be over in a couple of minutes, or maybe he's going to decide to come back.
He's the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, he's the principal from that, and is in a couple other movies.
Yeah.
But
got some crime record.
yeah, so something went wrong with their laser beam, and it accidentally pulled Howard back. So they're going to put him back now.
Yeah, so they just go to the place, and of course, when they turn up at the fucking science
Something
place,
has gone wrong again, and the first thing we know something has gone wrong is this guy comes out and his face is melting. Like, it looks
Yeah.
like a serious
that was
burn.
good. I like that. That was
Again,
good.
this is a PG film,
Forget
and
it,
he's
it's
got flesh
fine.
peeling off his face.
Hey, PG films are allowed to have death and violence.
I will say I did like some of the weird Cronenberg-y shit that was going on in the
Yeah.
last half of the film. That was the only thing I was interested in, was the way Jenna was like changing.
But at this point,
But,
wait, did they cops capture him in here?
Okay, one thing. So Howard's character is so like blasé about everything that
Oh,
isn't
yeah, this is
happening
very
to
funny,
him or Bev. So he's walking through. There are scientists on the floor screaming. There's fires going off. And they're talking about something came down. We don't know what, but it was something. And Jenna's gone. I think is dead. And his only reaction is to look around with his suitcase and just go, so is this going to delay me or anything?
Yeah, he did
because
not
I want to
care.
go back home. Yeah, he does not care about all the
That's the
carnage around
marketing
him.
executive. That's the marketing guy coming through. He just doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care about human life at all.
He doesn't care at all.
Yeah, that's when the police, turn up. And I don't know.
Very un-American police, because they see him, they take him in, and they don't shoot him. Thinking
No.
he's some kind of alien, and they don't shoot
Well,
him.
I wasn't sure why people are getting arrested, but it may be when I phased out or I
Okay,
went
you
to get
did
a
miss
snack
this.
or
You missed this.
something because
I
I
can
wasn't
say what
sure
happened.
why everyone was being arrested because
So-
it's like it's a private institution.
Okay, yes. So
They
it
weren't
is.
trespassing.
This
They
is
were
what
asked there.
happened. This is what happened. It is a private institution. Jenna was the main.
He's the head
Head
scientist.
scientist, but these experiments that Jenna were doing weren't on the books or like scheduled or anything. So he's
Right.
doing them in his off time with everyone else somehow involved. So obviously, whoever actually owns and runs the place is like, "What do you mean everything's blowing up? Send the cops in." So that's the thing, that they were illegal experiments.
So
that's why the cops.
If the
are there.
cops pick up Howard, and this is where they interrogate him, and they're like, "Oh, it's not a suit."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, finally, some government institution has gotten their hands on an actual alien duck."
Man, you're a big government pro guy, aren't you? Finally, the
I just don't
government
understand
are
why
here.
no one was acting responsibly, because their reaction is just like, "Oh, just put him in a cell and let's just forget about it."
Well, I
This
did
never
like
happened.
I did like they said, well,
He
we're gonna
hasn't
do
done
it.
anything.
Yeah.
But he's like, he's an alien duck. They got to do something.
They
Just
said,
shove him in a
what
cell.
do we do with it? Yeah. Well, it's an alien. Put him in a cell.
He's an illegal alien. Put him in a cell. Who
That
cares?
was kind of funny. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's when
he gets out.
What happens? He uses his quack food. He
Yeah,
manages
something
to get
dumb.
out. They're on the run. They pick up Jenna, who's pretty dazed and he's acting real weird.
Jenna starts saying he's changing, and we're Howard the duck.
This is the end of Cleveland, by the way. I don't think we go back to it. Because the movie shifts from post-apocalyptic
Oh, yeah.
land in Cleveland, where everything is dirty and dank and dismal, to this... I think the rest of it is just this science set and a diner and small-town America.
Yeah,
they
there's
drive
not
through a
much.
lot.
But he makes a few remarks saying that he feels like he's changing, and
Yeah.
then Howard the Duck's like, "You mean like a sex change?" And everyone's like, "Shut up, Howard."
Yeah, so Jenna's... They're all escaping and...
This was weird too, because they escape in a truck, and Bev and Howard the Duck, they're just driving. I don't know where.
They're just driving randomly.
But they
They've got
don't
no
care.
plan at this
They're
point.
weird too, because Jenna keeps saying like, "Oh, I'm feeling like." Jenna is
It's so
visibly
strange.
sick.
Yeah. He
been
keeps going,
hit.
"I'm dying on the inside. Something's
They
taking
don't
over."
care.
And Bev and Howard is like, "Yeah, whatever. Just keep driving, dude."
They are like psychopaths.
I think they think he's gone crazy
no,
or
they
something.
are full. They full on have no empathy for this guy.
They don't seem to notice. Well, it's not that they don't seem to notice that he is physically changing. His
Yeah.
skin is melting off and shit.
If someone's skin is melting
And he
off
starts,
beside me,
and that's when the Dark Overlord turns up, because all of a sudden Jenna, who's talked normally the whole way, goes, Jenna is gone. I'm the Dark Lord of the Overlords now.
which we could have done something
And
with.
talks the whole way through. I could barely understand what he was saying half the time for the rest of the movie.
the Dark Lord of the Underworld.
Right? Because he talks, he has multiple lines, but I couldn't understand what was happening.
Sounds like a goddamn nerd.
They end up at some shitty diner, which was weird, right? It was like a Cajun sushi.
And of course, we just get a lot of jokes again about duck references. Oh, actually, that's my thing. Sorry.
No, the duck references don't come until later.
If you're gonna watch this film, okay, you could take shots at every time there's a pun or a duck reference. Congrats, and don't
And then
sue me
right
if
at
you
the
fucking
end,
die.
like some sort of... I don't know, because the end, there's like 40 minutes of them at the diner, then a car chase, and
Yeah.
it's all boring.
The diner the problem is too, it's like very, very boring.
They end up at a diner and they're sort of having a conversation,
With
and
the
the Dark
demon.
Overlord is introducing himself and showing that he has powers, and the special effects in this movie are all over the place.
But instead of, like, actually
swamps
caring
you
about
in
that-
these like really crappy lights flying all over the place and terrible lightning effects.
Yeah. And instead of them actually caring about the Dark Overlord thing, they're more worried about getting breakfast.
Yeah, they keep going, "Jenna, just order something. Order us chips and shit, Jenna. You got to order us food, and then we're going to find out what happened." And Jenna's going, I'm the Dark Lord of the Overworld. We're going to wipe out all human race on
And
this
they're like,
planet.
Jenna, great, get the
Whatever,
eggs.
Jenna. Just get us eggs, okay? We're
Yeah.
hungry.
So they get the eggs. Howard the Duck flips out. Of course, Jenna is like, he has this key code thing for the machine that calls down the Dark.
He's
Yeah.
planning to open it up into the Nimbus Zone. Some dark area
Nimbus
that is apparently
Simono or
filled
something.
with demons.
It gets very straightforward at this point. Of course, there's someone wants to fight then Howard the Duck. They take the key code.
No,
Jenna
okay,
fights
so
them.
what happens, right,
Yeah.
is these hillbillies, whatever they are, they come up to him and they start hassling him. He's hassling them. He gets served eggs. He freaks out. The whole diner, not just the hillbillies, the whole diner come together to grab Howard and they drag him into the back. They're tying him down to the kitchen bench, and the head chef is coming over with these cleavers to kill him.
Yeah.
Why does that happen? It
It's-
comes out of nowhere. They don't discuss or anything, but all of a sudden, the
You know what that
entire
is?
diner is willing to kill this sentient being.
That's Southern hospitality.
Southern Cajun sushi hospitality? Is
Exactly.
there chicken in sushi? Are there sushi chicken? I don't eat
So,
sushi.
so sushi chicken.
I thought it was just like fish.
Nah, you can get chicken sushi.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
guess Cajun sushi. I don't know what they're doing.
I think it's a joke, but
Yeah, so they're calling
Yeah.
out for Jenna to help. And of course, at this point, he keeps going, I'm not Jenna, I'm the Overlord. And he's just sitting there laughing at everything that's happening. Eventually, he realizes that Bev's got the key card and that she won't give it back to him unless he helps or something.
so he does it.
So yeah, he throws lightning around, doesn't kill people, I think.
One of the people does have a funny line though. He says, "He must have had the chili."
Oh, the special effects are terrible.
So- but now he
starts
steals-
this knife flying around, and it's so obviously just a knife on a piece of fishing wire flicking around the air.
But
it was
he-
straight out of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
But anyway, he leaves with Bev because he takes Bev because he needs Bev so she can breed.
No, he wants to use her body as a vessel for the other demons, but he's only got one body for the vessel, right?
And there are lots coming
But there's
down.
like dozens of demons, and they don't even need the bodies.
Oh my god, that annoyed me too. But so now we got Howard the Duck at the place. Cops turn up, and then
Howard
Tim
manages
turns
to
up.
escape. Well, here's the
This
thing.
was so dumb.
So for the next like 30 minutes, Bev and Jenna are off on their own road trip
Oh, forget this.
because it's so
It's
hard
not
to figure, because it
important.
keeps cutting to night to day. So I don't know how many days went in between this,
Honestly,
or just
skip
hours.
Just skip them. They eventually
doesn't
turn up
make
to the
sense.
science place.
Well, they no, but
no.
he starts becoming he starts like changing into this alien, and this is where the weird Cronenberg stuff comes in.
Oh, the
because
tongue
he's
bit.
driving next to her and he's like, I need more power. His tongue turns into a spike and like shoots out of his mouth and jams into the
Cigarette lighter.
cigarette lighter in the car, and he starts like sucking out power and stuff.
Yeah, that was a bit
and
weird.
this weird stuff keeps happening. We thought it was going to turn into some sort of, I don't know, weird horror movie because it's got Bev there and
Pity
she's
it
like
didn't.
freaking out
Pity
a little
it didn't.
bit.
That was good.
He somehow gets into
A
a
nuclear
nuclear power
facility.
facility where he
Yeah.
apparently absorbs all the
Apparently.
electricity or something.
And then he ends up also back at
And
the
then he's
science
blowing
place.
up police cars and policemen.
Yeah, forget it. He ends up
At
at the science
Roadblock.
place. Honestly, they are forgettable at that point.
This movie's already like 2 hours long. Well, no, it's like an hour and 40 minutes. But there was no reason for it to be this long because these scenes add nothing.
Well, the thing is, now you get so Howard.
I think they had a budget for special effects
Yeah.
that they hadn't hit yet. So they just kept coming up with reasons like, okay, he's at a road stop and he decides to blow up all the cars.
Yeah, it's unneeded.
It's just unnecessary.
So Howard is at the diner still. The police are turning up. Tim turns up and is like, Howard comes over here. They're like, we gotta get out of here.
Because Tim's been arrested, so he's in the back of the car.
And then this is the biggest bullshit ever in a fucking film. Tim turns around and says, oh, look at this. It's an aeroplane.
yeah,
but
there's
it's not
an
put together.
ultralight aeroplane in the back of someone's truck.
It's not put together, so they literally just go, we'll just put it together.
Do you know how to fly it? No. Do you know
So-
how to put it together? No. 10 minutes later, they're flying
They
in
put it together overnight and now they're flying it, and you get the dumbest. I don't care. I really don't care about this. You get the dumbest scene of them just flying
It
and
looks
doing
terrible.
stuff.
Apparently, that was actually them for a lot of it. They had
do
to
a
learn how to
chase.
use it,
It's shit.
right?
What a shit scene.
It looks terrible the whole way through.
Is this one of those Tammy the T-Rex things where because the director had an animatronic T-Rex, they just decided to use it?
No. There's
you reckon the
too much
director-
money in this movie for this not to be. I think they needed.
You sure one of
They-
them didn't say I have a light aeroplane, and one of them was like, "Cool, let's
They
put
were
in
like,
a
we
10-minute
need
scene,
a huge chase scene with the police and stuff, with the cop cars constantly crashing in the background.
shooting it, them
But he's
falling
a
in
duck,
water."
so he's got to be flying.
Oh, it's boring.
But he doesn't fly. They don't fly in this thing. They stick to the road. They're barely above it for most of it.
They fall in the water. They go over the things.
At one point, they turn the plane off and they're just on the back of a truck.
They do so many things on this fucking like. I didn't care.
The chase goes for so long. It feels like
So
it goes on forever, and it is so
it's
boring.
such a boring chase. They end up at the
They
science
somehow
place.
lose the police by moving in a straight line.
It was
I don't
just
know.
terrible.
I think the police cars all blow up in the background.
Yeah.
Like there's great stunt work going on, but it's so boring.
You know what they
Because
could,
it's so unnecessary. None of this
Straight up-
means anything.
straight
The plot.
up they literally could have cut out 15 minutes of film if it gone from the diner, like
Because
he
why
runs
are the
out and then
police
Tim turns
chasing
up.
them? Apart from because they were trespassing after they'd been invited
Oh, well, now
by
they
this
know
guy.
that he's an alien too. That's kind of weird.
But they're not chasing him because
yeah,
he's an
they are.
alien.
They knew about Howard.
Yeah, but later on,
Yeah.
he's just a free duck again.
Yeah, it's a movie. I don't.
There's no sense in this film.
I'm just saying, like, they could have.
Yeah, after like
you know,
what
from the
feels
diner
like
scene,
forever, they managed to get back to where Jenna is.
15
in
minutes
the
of the
alien
film
place.
they could have cut out from that diner scene.
40
to gain
minutes
back.
of this film you could have cut out.
Oh yeah, easy.
and it would have been
Easy.
a lot better.
They get back. They fight Jenna, who does
Yeah,
cool shit.
Yeah, it turns out they've got like a death laser there they've never tried before.
It was really dumb.
He
how
puts
they
it onto this terrible little go-kart thing.
which for no reason at all, they always had to drive it under him and then come it back out, and then he would shoot
and
it.
this is the thing, it's like this whole section felt really drawn out.
It
Like
was
the first time he
so
confronts Jenna with the
slow.
laser, he comes out and he's in the tractor and he's like, okay, I'm getting ready to fire. I'm firing, but nothing's happening. And then it's like, for 5 minutes, he's just like, I don't understand why this isn't happening. I'm pressing buttons. Tim Robbins jumps in front and takes a blast eventually that goes on for ages. And then he's like, oh, you got to put your seatbelt on. He puts on his seatbelt and yeah, everything powers up. And then eventually he finally fires the laser.
Yeah, I don't want to even lament on this fight scene too much. The only interesting thing is that after that, Jennings is free.
Yeah, but the
And
alien
The
shows
alien
its true form.
shows its true form, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's this cool little stop motion monster. A lot of these things feel like it's out of a movie from like the late 60s or the
Yeah,
70s.
it really felt
it
like
looks
that.
like that as well.
Oh, what's it called? Kong Island?
Yeah.
Is it Kong Island? Is that the
it
one I'm
looks pretty
thinking of?
interesting. It's probably one of the better parts of the movie
It's really cool,
are
but
these monsters.
unfortunately, it's very, very boring what's happening with the duck just
Yeah,
powering up
because
his laser.
It's just it's like what I said. Like it's one of those boring Marvel origin stories where they
Yeah.
just have to throw in an end of the world scenario at the end.
Of course, he powers up his laser, shoots the monster, kills the monster, and then
They
power up
he
the-
destroys
yeah.
the telescope, which means he's now stuck on Earth.
the end.
The end. Oh, well, it's not the end because then we get another musical number. We've had a few musical
Oh my
numbers in this
God, I
movie, but I
forgot.
forgot about them. And it's just
Bev
them.
and her gang.
They've made it to the big time, and they're singing about Howard the Duck, and that's the song. It's just Howard the Duck,
And-
Howard the Duck,
And he comes
repeated
out
again and again.
he plays guitar.
Yeah, and it's some sort of
So
like
was
it's
was
a
that
Back to the
band?
Future homage, I guess.
I didn't get this. So was the band famous? Okay, the band got famous off the songs about Howard the Duck.
No, I
But
think
is
they were
Howard
meant
the
to be.
Duck
I
meant to
think
be
the-
real?
What? What do you mean?
I mean, like, do
They're
people know?
just singing about Howard the Duck.
No, I know the band know about Howard the Duck. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, like the fans, is
Apparently
Howard
they
the
know
Duck
about
like
him.
a known thing that he's an actual alien from another planet?
I think at this point, yes.
Okay, is that why they're famous?
Because he's not in jail.
That's why I
I
thought they were
assume
famous.
something has
because
happened.
they have a band with a literal alien. I thought that's why they were
Maybe.
famous.
Well, I don't think he wanted to come onto stage though.
But when he does, he just tears it
Yeah.
up.
But there's so many weird. Yeah, and that's the end. Finally.
So again, people, if you are gonna watch,
Well, there's a lot of little bits in this film that are just so strange. Like early on in the film, after he's come to Earth,
yeah.
he's sitting on Bev's couch, and all of a sudden, this truck goes by, and the room starts to rumble.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts having flashbacks to him getting sucked on Earth, which only happened like 2 minutes ago. And it's like some sort of weird Vietnam flashback stuff.
That was good.
There's so much weird sexual innuendo. the whole movie is a mess, but it's pretty
Well, you were
entertaining.
saying-
I can
think
understand
you
why
read
this
it.
got a cult
They
following.
couldn't decide on what they wanted it to be, adult or child.
Well, that's the biggest. That's probably like the biggest problem with the film. Like they couldn't figure out what they were gonna. Who is this aimed at?
Yeah.
Is this a kids film with boring characters, or is it an adult film with boring characters but tons of sexual innuendo going on all over the place? And then, okay, my biggest problem with the film though, because I found that all pretty entertaining. The first half of the movie is pretty entertaining. Like it's terrible and it's shit, but it's fun in a terrible way. The last half though is the car chase and the boring stuff with the scientists, and it's dull. I phased out completely. It's long and it's drawn out.
I did
and it's
too.
boring.
I would say if you're gonna watch this movie, watch it with friends, and you could do a drinking game or whatever you do, and it's very simple. If there's a pun or a reference to like a movie and stuff like that, or something about being a duck, you drink. And yeah, if you die, you know, I'm sorry that you died for Howard the Duck. Probably better ways to die for and more meaningful things too, but that's life.
I don't know if I could recommend this movie. Like, I enjoyed the first half just because of how terrible it was, but the second half is just boring.
Yeah.
So, up until the end fight where the claymation stop motion
It's
monster
just a
turns up.
bit long. It's one of those things again. Yeah, I'm agreeing
Maybe
with you.
fast forward through like
The diner.
90% of the chase scene. If you could fast forward through all the Howard the Duck ultralight chase scene, I think this movie would be a lot better.
I think straight up,
or more watchable, more
once
entertaining.
once they get to
The diner.
the
Because the diner
even
has some
before
crazy
that,
shit going on.
even before
but
that,
the chase is just a boring chase.
I think like once they get to the science place and it's all like destroyed, or even like leading up to it, chuck it on 1.5 times speed and just go
'cause
for the end of the film.
Some of the diner stuff was like so weird that it was entertaining. Just the fact that
1.5.
it's like a sushi Cajun place and it's
I
these
didn't say
rednecks
2 times the speed.
dressed up in kimonos and stuff. That's pretty weird. I enjoyed that.
This is why movies. This is why Netflix and all that have 1.5 and 1.2 times the speed, because these movies.
You don't want to watch this at normal speed.
I don't.
'Cause it's-
I would not
yeah.
watch it at normal speed. I would get up to that 40-minute mark and chuck it on 2 times.
But there's so many little things in this movie that make it just exceptional. Like it's so
Really?
strange.
Exceptional.
Like
You're gonna
going-
use that word for
like
this fucking
going through
movie.
they
This
go,
piece of shit.
There's so many little details. Like they go through the wallet and he's got like lots of family portraits and he's got like a duck card. Was that it? Master Duck or something? And then he's got like the little duck condom and all the weird stuff.
they're
They
so-
put so much into effort into these weird
Yeah.
little details.
They're such
That is
bad
wonderful.
jokes that they're just like, just do whatever and duck. That's hilarious. It's not.
You're a duck that can't swim.
Oh my god.
If God had meant for us to fly, he wouldn't have taken away our
That's
ability to fly.
That's it.
It's wonderful in a terrible, terrible
It's-
way. At the
it's-
same time, I hated it.
Yeah, so that was Howard the Duck. Cool. Thanks for listening to The End of the Reel. If you know anyone else who is a fan of good bad movies, share this podcast around to them. Sharing is the best way to help promote our podcast.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye bye.